Hey there, it's Q with Hold and Modify, and what you're about to see is just a kind of free-form Amiga experience. This is me. Well, honestly, I was gonna shoot a bunch of videos, and then I realized I was running into some technical issues, and I was gonna just scrap it all. But then I thought, you know what? No, this is a real experience. If you're gonna do this retro Amiga scene and get this stuff, I know you guys like to watch awesome edited videos with everything always sorted out and working out, but I wanted to give you kind of a legit, real experience of what it's actually like. So the first part of this video is me just kind of showing off some Lightwave stuff, showing how fast it is and all the Amigas. But then I kind of break down into some issues with my Amiga 3000 and my Amiga 3000. And I didn't want to really go too edit heavy on it. I do edit it, but I just wanted to give you kind of like a quick, honest take on what it's like to use these darn things. All right, thanks.
This computer will rule the world.
I've got the 16860 Amiga 4000 up and running with its awesome AGA chipset here. And I just want to fire up Lightwave, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the view here using the mouse. And as you can see, it's pretty decent. I mean, it's relatively smooth. And you can tell layout is in 8-color mode because we see the yellow over here. But yeah, it's pretty smooth, not bad. We'll go over here to the 1200, which also has a 16060, but it is the Rev 1 version instead of the Rev 5 that's over here. Also, this 4000's Rev 5 is using a newer BFG card. This 1200 is using a slightly older, but still relatively new TF1260 card. And let's see what its scrolling is like. Oh, it's actually pretty similar. It's actually really nice. That's, in fact, I'm looking at this here. Let's go back to the 4000. Yeah, okay. I'll say it's probably the same. Now, the weird shimmering you're seeing on the 4000 here compared to the 1200 is because the 4000 is using one of those external flicker fixers, so it kind of degrades the image. Now, if we jump over to the Amiga 3000, it's of course in 4-color mode, so you're no yellow here. And if we click here, it's even faster. It's much, much smoother. It's really smooth. And this is using a Phase 5 060. And it's also using a Picasso card. But this is not a retargeted screen, so this is not a like a cheater Picasso screen making it super fast. But that's also because we are in 4-color mode. Let's go to 8-color mode to match the other two systems. So there we go. Now, because the yellow, we're in the 8-color mode. And yeah, it's kind of chonkulous, right? I mean, yeah, it's usable for sure, especially considering if this was 35 years ago. This is very usable. I would have loved this. But if you want the fluidity that we were seeing with the AGA Amigas, you got to dump her down to 4-color mode, and then here we go. Actually, this is much smoother and faster than either the 1200 or the 4000. So yeah, now of course I could put the 1200 and the 4000 in the same 4-color mode as this 3000, and yeah, they would be even smoother. But it is really cool to know that the old 3000 here in the original ECS mode, in 4 colors at least, gives you this nice, fluid, smooth, interactive animation speed that 3D artists like us love to experience, because this gives us the instant response that we're looking for when creating animations. And again, over here on the 1200 AGA, as you can see, it's pretty smooth, but compared to what we just saw over on the 3000, it's not as fluid and smooth. And we'll do it again over here on the 4000. And I know this is not like an official benchmark, like running AIAB or sysinfo, but for 3D artists, this is a pretty telling thing here with this whole layout grid moving animation thing. Now, why don't we take the AGA Amiga and dump it down to 4 colors? There we go, we'll do that. And sure enough, now it looks just like the 3000. Actually, it's a lot faster. Look how smooth that is. That's crazy, actually. So there you go. That's all I wanted to do, was make this quick video showing off the chipset speeds between these computers. I mean, AGA, of course, is faster, right? So that's not really a shock. And yes, I could mode promote the 3000 into an RTG mode, and it would be lightning fast and could run at much larger resolutions. But until Picasso 96 can be updated to support the preview playback system here, we have to not mode promote Lightwave. Otherwise, we can't look at our animation previews. So that's why I always run these all in native, non-mode promoted. Sorry, just before I actually really end the video, I love doing this. Yeah, I know, you've seen it a billion times on my channel, but rendering the Babel 5 station on all these Amigas at once, that's just, I mean, that's so cool. We're just a bunch of old nerds that love our computers and this old TV show Babylon 5, which is really super awesome. What on earth am I doing? I'm installing the RGB to HDMI into my Amiga 3000. Q, why on earth would you ever do that? You have a Picasso 4 card. That card is a full 24-bit RTG card that also does, it flicker fixes native Amiga output, even from boot, from floppy. Why in the hell would you install an RGB to HDMI? Well, that's because my Picasso 4 card, unfortunately, I mean, it does have capacitors on it. You can see the little tiny capacitors there. I'm guessing these little guys, after all this time, are finally giving up the ghost, because my display is super ghosty, super hazy. There's like horizontal lines. It's just a mess. Now, it's possible, and I don't want to disparage my Amiga any more than I have in the past. But it is possible the Amiga's Denise could be outputting a weird signal that's making the horizontal fuzzies, right? Well, how can I verify that? I'm going to plug in the RGB to HDMI and then see if it's still fuzzy and got horizontal smearing lines. If it still has those lines, there is a little adjustment pot on the 3000 motherboard I can tweak to maybe try and clean that up. But regardless, I'm going to go ahead and just put in this thing and just see if it looks different. I don't think the smearing I'm seeing is anything to do with the Amiga. I think it's this Picasso 4. Unfortunately, this Picasso 4, as awesome as it is, I just think maybe the capacitors are finally just done. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and swap out the... yeah, I'm going to put this in there. Okay, so the RGB to HDMI thing did not quite work out. I couldn't get it to work. It did flash a red, green, blue test screen briefly when I booted up, but it would never work. It just, so here it is, right? There's the RGB to HDMI for the 3000. I just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't throw an image. I got on one of like 10 boots, I got it to do a RGB, 4-color test screen, and then nothing. It just wouldn't show anything, ever. I could push the button. I wouldn't even get the pie option screen out of it. It's nothing. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. But I'm back to using the 3000's native amber on this Amiga, and unfortunately, well, there's a good and bad news thing here. So the ghosting is gone. Like, there's no smearing or ghosting. That's obviously was coming from the Picasso 4 card. Or one could argue that the reason the Picasso 4 card was doing that ghosting smearing is because, I don't know if you can see this. Let me zoom in here. But there's a jiggly wiggly going on with this 3000's Denise. It's pretty bad. And I've seen this before. I've seen this actually in all of my prior Amiga boards. It's got something to do with the Denise and its circuitry and the flicker fixer, the amber. So it's like Denise, amber, trifecta, doom. I don't know what's going on. But it's jiggling and wiggling really, really badly. I'm not sure what to do about this, but I'm guessing, this is just a theory, that this jiggling that we're seeing is being translated as that smear in the Picasso 4. Like, the Picasso 4 is... I don't even know if that's true, because I think the Picasso 4 completely bypasses all of that stuff, because it goes through the Zorro slot, the video slot actually, the RGB slot, and corrects the signal on its own. So if this is an amber issue that we're seeing, this jiggly wiggly, if this is an amber issue, that's after the fact. So Maybe the Picasso is also kind of junked out. But yeah, this should not be happening. And it gets really bad if you like load something. Yeah, it goes, oh, geez, it just goes jiggly crazy whenever you load something. And now it's to the point where, like, you can see there. Also, I've noticed that all of the chips in here are getting really warm. Like, really, really warm. Really, really warm. Really warm. But, like, this one, decently warm. Like, okay. And this one is, I would say this one is hot. This is hot, hot. And this guy here, very, very hot. Like, this is melting. It's so hot. This one, nah, it's fine. And if I push on these chips, the color will change on the screen. It's probably not going to read on this camera, but yep, there you go. Watch. And it'll like change. But it's super, super hot. I've never had a 3000 run this hot before. These chips, this is smoking hot. This one is like on fire hot. This one's pretty hot. And this one is kind of like warm. I've never ever experienced that on a stock 3000 board before. So that might explain the jiggliness if it's just overheating. I don't know. So, oh boy, you know, I hate to say it, guys and gals and AI bots, but once again, I don't know what's going on. This is my this is my third Amiga, and I'm really, I mean, after all the money I've spent shipping and paying, and I don't know, folks, I might just, if I want to live my Amiga 3000 dreams, I think I might just go wait for an Amiga 3000 to show up on eBay again for a decent price. I know that's a pie in the sky dreaming talking right now, but you know what I'm saying. Maybe I'll just wait to see if I can try and find a deal on one that's got the original motherboard on it, because I have, you know, in all the Amigas I've had like 6 Amiga 3000s, and they've all had issues, but I've never had this issue. This is incredible. I mean, it's just really bad. It's a jiggly wiggly mess. It's really depressing. It just bums me out. Especially, I mean, the money I spent on this Amiga 3000 project, if you add up all the years, shipping costs and investments, I could have bought, you know, a completely awesome, verified and tested Amiga 3000 on eBay for what most of us would think is way too much money. So that's where I'm coming at when I think about this. So when you see me getting all fussy and whiny about, well, why is he being moany about the Amiga 3000? Man, you should be lucky. I'm like, well, because if I just saved my money and just waited until I could have gotten a 3000 that worked, then I'd be a lot happier, right? Instead of just piecemealing out my cash to a point where ultimately it's still screwed up. This sucks. It's getting worse. The longer it's on, it's getting worse. It's just getting more and more jiggly. All right. I guess I'll end this video.